Did you get little Steve to sleep?
Finally.
You could use some rest too, Jenny.
I want to talk to Stryker about something, Vicky.
I heard about the scene Barrett made this afternoon.
Barrett thinks that I left him for Ryan.
Did you?
No! Barrett's so unstable. He refuses to get help. I can't deal with it anymore. And then, of course, when he walked in here this afternoon and found Ryan here...
That's all the proof he needed.
Yes.
Jenny, I can get a restraining order stopping from seeing you.
Before Barrett left this afternoon, he talked to Ryan about the unwritten law. That means trouble for Ryan, doesn't it?
Well, I can't believe how good he is.
Hey, where'd Jeb run off to?
Oh, he went to the hospital to visit Ricky.
Oh, how's Ricky doing? I didn't get a chance to drop by this afternoon.
Well, he's doing a lot better, but the doctor says it's going to be a while before the wound completely heals.
You know, he was real lucky that bullet didn't do him more damage than it did.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Stevens. For sound that rehearsal, we're going to have some show tonight.
Yes, it sounded great.
Hey, you better believe you're gonna knock them customers right on their ears tonight.
Well, thank you. Of course, you got a great band to work with, Elena.
I know, they're terrific, aren't they?
Yeah.
Hey, Roy, what was that called during the last number?
Oh, that was your wife, Billy Joe.
Nita, is she all right?
She sounded fine. She just said when you get a chance to give her a call.
Dang it!
What's the problem?
My wife is every record you ever made, Mr. Stevens.
She's the one.
Yeah, she's the one. I'll tell you, she's your biggest fan. I didn't think of it. I should have had her over for this rehearsal this afternoon.
Well, wait, you can have her to the performance tonight.
Well,
Sure.
You think that's all right, though? I mean, it's kind of late for her.
Oh, Billy Joe, it'll do her good to get out. I think Billy Joe is the most overprotective father-to-be that's ever been.
Look, I'm gonna go call Nita right now, all right?
Oh, Mr. Stevens, I really appreciate this.
Michael, will you tell Alfredo I'll be in my suite if he needs me?
Hi. Leaving so soon?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I was.
Not feeling well?
No.
Is something personal? It might help to talk about
I
it.
don't think anything will help at this point.
A pretty big shoulder.
I need a lot more than that.
You used to say I was a very good listener.
Hey,
Paige. What's wrong?
Everything. It's everything.
Look. Why don't we go to my place? We can have a nice dinner set up. You can relax and tell me all about it.
No, I don't think so.
Look. Talk. That's all, I promise.
Texas, starring Beverly McKenzie.
I'm calling your bluff, Justin. I'm not giving in. If you want to stay in the oil business, that's just fine. But you drill someplace else. Because if you drill on the Harper land, that's going to be the last thing you ever do.
Hello?
Come in.
I was just going out to get a sandwich. You want me to get you one, or are you going to be leaving in a little while?
No, I've got a meeting with Bubba Wadsworth in about 10 minutes. Why are you here so late?
Oh, I'm typing out the reports for the board meeting in the morning.
Well, may I have a copy?
When they make you a member of the board, I'll give you a copy.
How can I learn about the business, Ashley, if I don't have access to helpful information?
You know, I think you ought to worry a lot less about the board meeting and a lot more about Max Decker's threats to you.
All those threats, they're meaningless.
But you haven't forgotten about them, have you?
Now, what is Max going to do to me? Every step that I take is legal. He's sounding off.
Max strikes me as the kind of man that means what he says.
Well, I think you have a weakness for cute cowboys, don't you?
Justin, it's you that I'm worried about.
I appreciate your concern. But I am a lot smarter than Max Decker.
Well, now, I think that Max is pretty smart.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. He was smart enough to take Rena away from you and marry her.
Oh, you fight dirty, don't you?
I am just stating the facts. And you have never forgiven Max for that. Or Rena either. And that's why you just love to antagonize both of them.
I didn't want to marry Rena.
Oh, well, maybe not. But you didn't want her to marry anybody else, though, either, did you?
Well, I will admit, the marriage did surprise me.
No. What surprised you is that Rena loves Max.
Rena has a weakness for cowboys, too. But she's not in love with Max.
Well, when is the baby due?
3 weeks. I'll tell you something else that's bothering me. What? If this baby is not a boy, you are going to have one unhappy manager on your hands.
No, I think that Billy Joe is going to be happy to have a child, boy or girl.
Are you kidding? Billy Joe's mind's already made up. I'm not having a child. I am having a Billy Joe Jr. And not to mention, he's already found the name, and he's got this whole closet full of sports toys. He's already gone out and bought for Billy Joe Jr.
I think that is sweet.
And he thinks Billy Joe Jr. is going to be this big athletic star. He's already planning on him getting Olympic gold medals and everything.
Now, where did you get that ring? I've never seen that before.
Billy Joe gave it to me last night.
It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Must have cost a fortune.
Bobby Sue says it's worth $10,000.
$10,000? You know, where did Billy Joe get all that money?
You hungry?
No, not really.
Okay. We'll wait and send down for something a little bit later on. Told Uncle Pete what it is that's knocked you for such a loop.
Really rather not talk about it if you don't mind.
That's the reason you came.
Maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe
Paige, what's wrong? I hate to see you like this.
hate to be like this. I can't seem to help it.
It's your husband, isn't it? Because he's still in jail?
I really would rather not talk about it if you don't mind, Peter.
Okay, whatever you want. You choose.
It doesn't matter. I just want to forget about that now.
Your father-in-law seemed like an interesting man.
Yes, I like Elliot a lot.
I think the feeling is mutual.
He seems as worried about Dennis as I am.
I can imagine. So, did you tell him that I was an old friend of Chris Shaw's from Hollywood? That you met Chris through me?
No, we didn't get into that.
Well, it's just as well, I guess.
He did seem interested in who you were, though.
Oh?
He said he thought it was a little strange that you hadn't seen Iris. Paid your respects to her.
Well, you know, assume that she had enough on her hands while Alex was still in the hospital without my dropping by.
Yeah, well, that's what I told him.
Well, what did he say?
He seemed to accept it.
Then you, didn't tell him about having seen me coming out of Alex's office the night that he had his stroke.
You told me Alex was fine when you left his office.
Well, he was. He was. It's just, you know, other people might jump to the wrong conclusions. I mean, you know, there's no sense looking for trouble. Excuse me. Hello? Hello? This was wrong number.
The unwritten law is a vague legal term. You let me worry about the law, all right?
Stryker Barrett sounded so threatening.
Don't you think that might have been in the heat of his anger?
Did you talk to Ryan about what Barrett said?
Ryan thinks it's just nonsense.
I agree with him, but I'll talk to Barrett if I think it'll help the situation.
Do you remember when I got trapped in the storm cellar?
Uh-huh.
Barrett locked me in there.
That's a serious accusation,
I
Jim.
know, but it's true.
Do you have any proof of it?
Well, nothing tangible. I mean, nothing that would hold up in a court of law, but I'm sure it's true.
Barrett aware of your suspicions?
Yes. When I confronted him, he didn't deny it either. He slapped me.
Well, why in the world would he lock you in a storm cellar?
Jealousy. He thinks that I would run off somewhere with Ryan. I don't know.
Ginny, honey, you don't have to talk about this now.
I know. I want to talk about it.
Ginny, is the storm cellar incident, that the reason you're leaving Barrett?
This afternoon, Barrett held a rifle on my brother Jeb.
What did he do that for?
Jeb is trying to convince me that I should leave Barrett. And he told him that. I walked in at the end of the argument.
It's a serious business, pulling a gun on someone. He obviously needs professional help.
Stryker, he refuses to get help. And he refuses to even admit that he has a problem. I have begged him. I've pleaded with him.
Perhaps a separation will help change his mind?
I doubt it.
Well, do you want to hold off on the decision for a while?
Maybe the best thing to do is just file for divorce and have it over and done with.
There aren't many things in life that I'm sure of, but one of them is that Rena loves Max Decker.
Well, I am an expert on Rena.
Oh, well, maybe you used to be, but I think you're losing touch with reality in that area.
Oh, am I?
Yes, and I think you ought to be more careful in the future. And I think that you especially ought to be careful with Max about making him angry. He will carry out those threats, Justin.
Well, aren't you just full of advice tonight?
Well, I guess I am. Not that you'll heed it, I suppose.
I'll consider it.
What's Bubba Wadsworth coming by here for?
He's coming here to give me a report on the progress out at the Harper place.
Well, why is he waiting so late?
Well, he's been working out in the field all day.
Oh, of course.
Why are you so suspicious about all this?
Because I don't think that I trust good old Bubba Wadsworth.
You only met the man twice, Ashley.
I have good instincts about people.
Honey, are you worried about all this stock manipulation business?
Well, what if he does double-cross you or something? What if he manipulates you right out of World Oil?
That'll never happen.
Well, how can you be sure?
Because I'm in control of this project. Bubba works for me. I call the shots. You can't do anything without my approval.
He can try.
Don't worry. I'll protect myself.
All right. It's your party. Do you want a sandwich?
Well, why don't you go back and finish your work? And when the meeting with Bubba is finished, I'll take you to dinner. How does that sound?
Well, that sounds fine.
Come in. Bubba.
Evening, Ashley. Hey, buddy. Surprised to see you here this time of night.
Well, secretary's work is never done.
Ashley. You left your purse.
Silly me.
I don't think this will be necessary.
Quite a girl.
Yes, indeed, she is.
So, where were we?
This must be so boring for you, Peter.
No. No, it's not. None of it concerns you. We used to talk a lot, remember? I ain't good at talks. We may not have had much else going for us, but we always had that. I want to be your friend now, Paige. Do you believe that? You were telling me that your husband had asked for a divorce.
Apparently, my darling mother-in-law found out. She arranged a meeting with Dennis's lawyer just to help things on a bit.
From what little that I saw of Iris Wheeler this afternoon, she seemed like a charming, if somewhat determined lady.
Oh, she's determined, all right. Iron Butterfly. It's her pet name. She'll do anything to get what she wants, Peter.
Well, I don't know if I remember correctly. You were pretty determined yourself. So, what do you do now? Give up?
I don't know what to do. I really don't.
You think Dennis really wants a divorce?
I don't think Dennis knows what he wants at this point.
Well, it must be pretty difficult for him. In jail, wondering how things are going to turn out, worrying about the future.
He said he didn't want to see our marriage slowly disintegrate while he was in prison.
So he's trying to set you free. It's very noble of him.
He's the most wonderful man I've ever met.
I guess I didn't treat you very well when we were together, did I?
Maybe I wasn't worth treating well.
Maybe I simply didn't know what I had.
He's changed me, Peter. He's brought out things in me I never imagined were there.
Has he?
Who would have thought that Paige Marshall would have wanted to spend the rest of her life cooking and cleaning for someone? That's what I wanted with Dennis.
He's a very lucky man.
No. No, I'm the lucky one. I didn't deserve him. And now I've lost him. And I don't think I'm ever going to get him back.
Oh, no. Maybe you will.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. There's no need to apologize.
Would you, excuse me a minute?
Sure.
Be right back.
Just a minute. What do you want?
We got some business to take care of.
You think divorce is the only solution?
Jenny, you're in no shape tonight to make a decision. Why don't you get some rest and we'll all talk about it in the morning.
There's something I want to tell the both of you. The baby. The baby was Ryan's, not Barrett's. And Barrett will never forgive me for it. He'll never trust me again.
Did he tell you that?
No, he said he wanted to start a new life and put the past behind us.
You think that's impossible?
Yes.
Can you ever trust him again?
No. We've caused each other too much pain. It has to stop.
Jenny, I'll talk to Barrett tomorrow.
Thank you, Stryker.
Ginny, why don't you go to bed now?
Thank you both for being so supportive.
If there's anything at all you need, just call me.
Thank you.
Good night, Jenny.
Night, Ginny.
Oh, sad, isn't it?
Oh.
I remember Barrett as a gentle, honorable, kind man.
Mm-hmm. You know, Elliot expressed concern about Barrett's mental state, too.
When was this?
When he returned from Washington after he saw Roger Williams.
What did he say?
He said he thought Barrett was potentially dangerous.
Jenny?
No, to himself.
Did Elliot try to help Barrett?
Oh, Barrett loathes Elliot. He believes he's a traitor. He wouldn't listen to him. Never mind follow his advice.
It's true enough.
But Elliot did warn Ryan to keep an eye on Barrett. Honey, this threat that Barrett made, this unwritten law. I mean, what is it?
Well, I didn't want to upset Jenny any more than she already is.
Well, I know, but what is this unwritten law?
Well, what it amounts to is, in some areas, people believe that if a husband finds his wife with another man, the husband is justified in killing him.
Billy Joe said he got the money from your royalty payments.
Yeah, but the royalty payments couldn't have been that big.
I was worried about that, too, but Billy Joe assured me it was all right. Said he bought the ring on credit.
Who would give Billy Joe a loan for $10,000?
Yeah, well, there are a lot of stores that'll give you credit on anything, as long as they can charge a big interest rate.
Yeah, and sometimes you end up paying twice or three times the cost of what you buy.
Yeah, that frightened me, too, that Billy Joe won't have enough money to cover it. Do you think that much money's going to be coming in?
I don't know. Well, wait, Nita, now don't go getting worried. Billy Joe has handled everything pretty well up to this point.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Don't get upset. Billy Joe just didn't say anything about the ring, so it caught me off guard, that's all.
Something else is bothering me later.
What's that?
Bobby Sue said that you said that the royalties hadn't started to come in yet.
Well, I didn't think they had earlier, but then Billy Joe gave me my first money.
How much was it? No, never mind. It's none of my business.
No, wait, I don't mind telling you, Nita. Billy Joe gave me $1,000 cash.
$1,000 cash? Good heavens.
I know, it surprised me, too.
Attention, everybody, I got an important announcement right here. Free drinks for everybody on the house, right here. Everybody right here. Woo! Get up there. Get some free drinks. What are you two beautiful ladies so busy talking about, huh?
We're talking about Elena's royalty money. There's something funny going on around here.
I don't have time to talk now.
Make time.
I've got company.
Tell your company to get lost.
What's this all about?
I need money.
Look, I don't like the idea of your showing up here like this.
I called. Didn't you hear me call?
Oh, it's you.
Yeah, that was me.
You know, you'd be real smart to stay out of sight for a while.
What's that?
You said you needed money. There's 500 there.
The bill's a little bigger than that. 250,000.
What are you
Remember?
talking about?
I'm talking about the cut of Bernie's money that he stashed away.
We didn't get that money, so the deal's off.
Deal's off when I say it's off. But that Billy Joe Wright has hidden that money somewhere, and I'm going to find it.
Look, you do whatever you want to. Just count me out.
Sure, I'll count you out. That just means more money for me.
Fine.
But until I lay my hands on that dough, I expect you to keep me bankrolled.
Oh, look, man, you're bad news. I mean, you're like a time bomb. The cops are after you.
Well, I'll let you worry about
Listen,
that.
Foster. I advise you not to show your face around here. Give it.
Thanks. See you around.
What was that all about?
Oh, thanks. I didn't hear you come back in.
Trouble?
No. Just business.
Well, all the equipment's in place. Or will be by morning. I plan to start drilling tomorrow afternoon.
Is the crew out there right now?
Yep, got my own personal crew.
What does that mean?
What it means is I got people out there I can depend on.
I hope you're not thinking of cutting corners and pocketing the money.
No need for that this time, old buddy. There's going to be so much money we don't have time to spend it.
I just don't want any careless mistakes.
Yeah, well, I've fixed this up more than I have in years. I mean, I've checked everything. I've double-checked it. It's going to be Class A all the way.
Good. Well, if we're as lucky with this as you say...
There is nothing to be lucky about it. It's a piece of cake. That oil is going to come gushing right out of the ground.
Are you usually this confident on all your projects?
Hell no. I've been on jobs where I just prayed and hoped all the time. I mean, I just hoped that we'd make enough money out of the oil to pay for the investment. Touch and go all the way.
Well, if you'll remember, it was touch and go at the beginning of this deal, too, Bubba.
Yeah, it was, but you did your job. You convinced old man Wheeler to back us up. Now, why don't you just relax and let me drill forward?
I wish I could relax.
Well, come on. We got this far all right, haven't we? Don't turn into some kind of nervous Nelly.
I just hope you don't disappoint me, Bubba.
We got millions at stake here. I'm not going to let you down.
Thanks. Thanks for stopping by. Keep in touch, Bubba.
I will.
That's right, Bubba. You keep in touch.
What do you mean something's funny going on?
Well, first you buy me a ring I know we can't afford, and then you give Elena $1,000 cash.
Nita, I already explained about the ring, and that money was part of Elena's royalty payments.
Well, I think there's something you're still hiding, Billy Joe.
Now, what would I be trying to hide?
I've heard that sometimes people buy things for cash to hide things from the Internal Revenue Service.
Is that what you're doing, Billy Joe? Hiding Elena's royalty money from the government?
No, Nita, I am not.
Because if that's what you're doing, then you could get yourself in a lot of trouble.
Nita, that's ridiculous.
Well, then where are the royalty statements, Billy Joe?
I already told you, they're back at the trailer.
Then why didn't you give Elena a check instead of cash?
Because I didn't get around to write one yet. That's all. I've been real busy, honey. And I wanted Elena to have part of her royalty money right away.
Yeah, but I didn't need the money right away.
Yeah, but you want to wait a month or two? Because that's how long it's going to take for all that paperwork to go on through on that special bank account I set up for your royalty payments.
1 or 2 months?
Yeah. And if you two are worried that I'm not on the up and up, I can arrange to have a special meeting here with the officer at the bank I'm dealing with.
Oh, Billy Joe, there's no need for that.
What is this here, man? You're my own wife. Everybody else is ready to believe the worst of me just because I'm trying to be a nice guy here.
Nobody is thinking the worst of you. It just does sound a little strange.
All right. Just for that, I want to make sure. I want to set up this meeting, like I said, so you can meet with this officer in charge of Elena's special bank account.
Billy Joe, you don't have to do that.
No, I shouldn't have to do that, but that's what I'm going to have to do. Because I don't want this cloud of suspicion hanging over my head. I'm tired of it.
Come on.
Now, if you two don't have any more accusations to make here, I'm going to go finish setting up for the band.
Honey.
I think we're a little hard on him.
I think we were a little bit hard on him.
Yeah, but, well, I don't know any more about about business people or business things than you do.
If a bank officer stepped on my toe, I wouldn't even know it.
I think that we're going to have to make it up to him later.
How can you kill a man and not be punished for it?
Because the jury is reluctant to convict if a spouse is found in an adulterous situation.
Well, that certainly doesn't apply to Ginny. Barrett was declared legally dead when she was with Ryan, and I doubt very much if she's been unfaithful to Barrett since he came home.
I agree with you, but what the truth is and what Barrett believes to be the truth are two totally different things.
Honey, do you think Ginny's in danger?
No, but Ryan may be. After all, he threatened him this afternoon.
But when Ginny told you that Ryan thought it was a lot of nonsense, you agreed with him.
Yeah, I'm afraid I wasn't any more honest with Ginny than Ryan was.
Was Ryan trying to allay Ginny's fears?
Yes, but I think he's aware of the seriousness of the threat.
Well, what about Ginny? Shouldn't she know the truth?
Yes, but I don't think she should have to cope with it now. She's got enough to worry about.
Right. But I certainly think you should talk to Ryan about it.
I intend to, and I'm going to arrange a meeting with Barrett, and I'm going to get this all straightened out before it gets out of hand.
Hey, you gonna be much longer?
Just give me 2 minutes, okay?
I'll time you. Two minutes aren't up yet.
You know, it's very hard to work over there. You're very distracting, knowing that you're sitting here smiling at me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I should get up and leave
No.
it to you.
No, nothing's so important that it can't wait until tomorrow.
Nothing.
Well, almost nothing.
You look so tired.
It's been a long day. I need rest. Your perfume is intoxicating.
It's my favorite.
And now it's mine, too.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
How are you feeling now?
Better.
See? I told you. It's always good to talk things over with an old friend.
I appreciate it, Peter.
Oh, hey, what are friends for? You want to have dinner drink?
Oh, no, I really have to be going soon.
Come on, what's the rush? I mean, we're not going to turn into pumpkins at midnight or anything.
How are you feeling?
Me? Fine.
No. I think you're still worried about that man who came here earlier.
That guy, he's a troublemaker. People like that always end up by doing themselves in.
Sure you don't want to talk about it?
There's nothing to talk about. Really? I am so worried about you, though.
I'll be all right.
I want you to be more than all right, Paige. I want you to be happy.
Thank you.
I'm serious about that.
Me too.
Stiff upper lip and all that. Well, I don't suppose you want to talk any more about your mother-in-law problems, huh?
Like you said, those people usually take care of themselves sooner or later.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Well, I had better go back to the club.
Oh, no. Can't the club get along without you?
Yes, but it's nice to make an appearance every once in a while.
I hope everything works out all right for you and Dennis.
Thank you.
Glad I could help. I'm going to help you a great deal, Paige. You're going to be very grateful to me before this is all over.
So you're not so smart after all, Billy Joe, right? Oh, Parnell. You're gonna wish you didn't cut yourself out of this one.
Excuse me. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and cowboys and cowgirls. Tonight, we have a special honor at the Coop. We have one of country and western's greatest singers. Now, you know him from his many hit records, and you know him from his TV show, and I know that you all love him. Here he is, Mr. Ray Stevens.
Thank you, Elena. And I hope I get to hear you sing up here sometime.
Thank you.
Real soon.
Thank you.
I want to do a little tune here that you probably heard a different way. This is sort of a different treatment of this. You ready? This is a good band up here. Look at me. I'm as helpless as a kitten up a tree, yeah. Oh, I'm walking on a cloud. I can't understand, Lord. I'm misty holding your hand. Walk my way, and 1,000 violins begin to play. Or it might be the sound of your hello, that music I hear, Lord. I'm misty the moment you're near. You can say that you're leading me on, but it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you. Should I wander through this wonderland lonely night, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove, Lord? I'm misty and too much in love. Oh, Wimpy Wayne. Woo! You can say that you are leading me on, but it's just what I want you to do. Don't you notice how hopelessly I'm lost? That's why I'm following you. On my own. Should I wander through this wonderland alone, never knowing my right foot from my left, my hat from my glove, Lord? I'm stay and too much in love. Too much in love. Too much in love.
Best wishes to Nita,
Nina.
Billy Joe, and Billy Joe Jr.
Billy Joe. Got it that when he gets
Yeah.
older.
I'll tell you one thing. There you are.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that, Mr. Stevens.
You're welcome. And if that Billy Joe Jr. is half as nice as his mom and dad, he's going to be one heck of a kid.
Oh, thanks.
Listen, I saw a couple buddies of mine in the back of the show. And so if you'll excuse me, I think, unless I miss my guest, they're at the bar right now.
Okay.
See you later.
Mr. Stevens, I want to thank you again for a wonderful show.
Oh,
thank
my
you, sir.
pleasure. See you.
Well, he really is something, ain't he? Huh?
Really is.
What was it like listening to somebody else sing at the chicken coop?
It's kind of strange.
Well, it won't be strange for long, darling, because I'm going to get you right up there in no time at all.
Well, I just hope that someday I can be as good and funny and relaxed as he was up there.
I'm sure that just takes a lot of practice and a lot of years.
And also a lot of performing in front of a live audience. There's no substitute for that.
All right, I hear you, Billy Joe. You don't have to tell me what you're getting at.
Didn't it just make you want to get up there and sing? See Ray Stevens up there giving it all he's got?
Yes. Maybe in a couple of days I'll feel up to it, too.
That's the spirit. Sure you will, darling. You're going to forget about everything that ever happened in New York.
Last call for the bus to Amarillo, departing from gate 6.
Empty! Damn it, Billy Joe Ray, what did you do with that money?
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Texas.
Vivian, please stop pacing.
You can't stop, Mrs. Wheeler. I'm too nervous.
If you don't stop, you're going to make me as nervous as you are, and then I won't be able to help you at all.
I'm sorry.
Just calm down. Everything's going to be all right.
How can you say that, Mrs. Wheeler?
All Stryker wants is to talk to you.
He knows I was in that horrible Mr. Shaw's office with you that night. He was murdered.
Vivian, how many times do I have to tell you? You have nothing to worry about. You haven't done anything.
Yes, I did. I helped you conceal evidence. I am an accomplice to the crime.
The DA's office knows all about that. And Stryker told us they're not going to press charges against either one of us.
Oh, no, sure. They're not going to press charges against you because you're Dennis's mother. No jury's going to convict a mother who's trying to help her son. But what about me? I'm not even a relative. I'm the maid. And they probably reconsider and they're going to come after me and arrest me.
No one is going to arrest you. Stryker is merely going to ask you a few questions. I'll get it.
Good morning, Iris. I believe you know Detective Donovan from the Houston Police.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Peter.
I know.
I just called to tell you what a nice time I had last night.
Yes, well, so did I. Thank you very much. You were right. It did feel good to talk some things out.
Well, as I said, I've always been a good listener.
Yeah, well, what can I do for you today?
Well, since we both had such a good time, I was thinking we might try for a repeat.
Well...
What about dinner tonight?
How do I look, sugar?
Ooh, great. What are y'all dressed up for?
I got some important business to attend to.
Well, I hope you're not around any young women. Because they're not going to be able to keep their hands off of you.
No, this is strictly business, Nita. I'm going to see Paige Carrington about the possibility of Elena singing at the Top of the World Club.
The Top of the World Club? You think Elena would fit in there?
Honey, that girl go over anywhere. She's becoming a big star. It's all over town. It's a big hit right now, and
I mean, you can't even turn our radio station without hearing her.
Yeah, I know that, Billy Joe, but that's on the country western stations. I don't think the folks that go to the Top of the World Club listen to that kind of music.
Well, sure they do.
Well, I always pictured them listening to that classical stuff.
Well, even though I don't think well, they would. They'd appreciate Elena's voice if they heard it.
Billy Joe, the crowd that goes to the Top of the World Club is a lot different than that crowd that goes to the chicken coop.
I know that, darling, but that ain't gonna keep me from trying. All Mrs. Carrington can do is say no.
I guess you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to talk like you shouldn't go over and
That's
try.
all right. That's all right. Hey, when you going into Maggie's today, huh?
Not till later this afternoon.
Oh. Okay, well, if I'm not at the Top of the World Club, I'll be out at the ranch talking to Elena.
Okay. You don't have to tell me your whole day's schedule, you know.
Well, you bet I do. It's only 2 or 3 weeks till Billy Joe Jr. comes, you know. And I want to make sure you know where I am every minute of the day, just in case. Just to be safe.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Now, which one of you cute little boxes is to apartment 1?
Billy Joe's gonna be so happy when he finds out I made him his favorite guacamole dip. Uh-oh. Oh, no. Oh, I told Billy Joe there was something wrong with his blender. How am I going to make guacamole without a blender?
Now, this is right. We will pay you a little visit.
Texas, starring Beverly McKinsey.
I don't think dinner is such a good idea, Peter.
Why's that?
Because I've been out of the office a lot lately, and I have a lot of catching up to do.
Well, all the more reason to take an hour or so off. Be good for you. All work and no play.
Not today, I'm sorry.
You sure?
Mm-hmm. Thanks anyway.
Well, if you reconsider, you know where to reach me.
Yep.
Call any time. The hotel dining room stays open all night.
Thanks, I'll remember that. Bye. At this rate, I'm never going to get any work done. Come in.
Hi, Mrs. Carrington.
Why, Billy Joe. What a nice surprise. What can I do for you?
Oh, I just, dropped in to say hello, and how's everything going?
Fine. Everything's going just fine.
I read all about the trouble you had, the arrest and everything.
Yeah.
I'm real sorry to hear your husband's in jail right now. That must be pretty rough on you.
Yeah, it is. It's very rough.
It's the waiting around that gets to you, ain't it?
Still hoping that Dennis will be cleared, Billy Joe.
Is there much chance of that?
It's a little hard to say right now. You haven't had such an easy time of it yourself, though.
Oh, you mean Elena?
The kidnapping.
Well, yeah. I got a hand to Elena. I don't know how she made it through all this stuff, you know. I know it's been pretty rough on her, finding those 2 bodies that way, but I think that's all straightened out now.
What about the guy that kidnapped her? Did they ever find him?
No, they didn't, but I don't think they'll have too much trouble.
Why's that?
Well, with the tattoo and everything, I think he'll be pretty easy to recognize.
too.
Well, yeah. He had this sea serpent tattooed to his arm, right about here, you know. It seems it was pretty unusual, and I think it'll be easy to spot.
Thanks.
Lena and Ricky and Jeb Hampton, they all gave the police a pretty good description of this guy, so I think they're all pretty safe.
Think so?
Well, yeah, sure, he wouldn't dare show his face back here in Houston again.
Oh, now, why won't the vacuum cleaner work? I bet you the electricity's off. Eh. Oh. That old blender must have blown a fuse. All right. Where did Billy Joe say the fuse box was? Who is it?
Electrician. The superintendent sent me over to check if the power was on in your apartment. Oh, hi.
Hi.
We're checking all the apartments on this side of the building. Is the power on here?
It sure is, and boy, that superintendent must really be on the ball. It just went off just a few seconds ago.
Yeah, well, we're working on the wiring in the building, so it didn't take us long to track down the problem areas.
Something's wrong with the wiring.
Seems to be.
Gosh, this Aquarius apartment complex is brand new. They shouldn't be having trouble with the wiring so soon.
Well, that's progress these days. You take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Tell you what, you can't trust anything these people make these days, huh?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Can I come in and take a look around?
Sure.
Thank you.
I was just making guacamole. My husband had it at one of these fiestas parties. He's been craving nothing else since.
Let's go over this one more time, Miss Goro. Now, you went to the coop that night with Mrs. Wheeler.
Yes,
You waited in the car while Mrs. Wheeler went inside.
that's right. It was raining. And I remember that because there was a clap of thunder and nearly knocked me out of the car.
So that's when you became worried about Mrs. Wheeler, decided to go in after her.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you saw Dennis Carrington for the first time.
Yes, sir.
He was unconscious, and Mrs. Wheeler was dragging him toward the door.
Yes, sir.
But you didn't see the paperweight.
No, sir.
It was only later that you discovered the blood-stained handkerchief in the pocket of Mrs. Wheeler's raincoat that you realized she must have wiped off the paperweight in order to remove her son's fingerprints.
Can I go check on Mr. Wheeler? I think he may need something.
Detective Donovan, must you badger Vivian this way? You're repeating everything she's told you. Everything I've already told you. I really don't see the point.
I'm asking Miss Goro if you don't mind, Miss Wheeler.
Well, it seems to me that you're being...
Iris, please, Detective Donovan is here on behalf of the DA's office. It's important that these questions be asked if you hope the charge against Dennis will be changed.
Look, I understand your concern for your employer, Miss Goro. And you can go check on Mr. Wheeler just as soon as you answer my questions.
Just take a minute, baby. Go on. Tell the man.
I found the handkerchief in Mrs. Wheeler's coat about a week later.
Why didn't you go to the police with this information when you and Mrs. Wheeler found Dennis in Chris Shaw's office?
Because I asked her not to.
And why, Mrs. Wheeler, was that?
Because I wasn't sure Dennis had killed Chris Shaw.
You weren't sure, even though you found the murder weapon next to your son's hand.
Detective Donovan, perhaps you're as exhausted as I am at the moment, and therefore you don't remember one very important factor in all of this.
And what's that, Mrs. Wheeler?
My son was unconscious. He didn't then, and still doesn't, remember killing Chris Shaw.
Yes, I do remember that.
And furthermore, I don't know why you insist upon going over and over the same questions. This is the same information I gave you weeks ago. I told you Vivian and I went there that night, and found Dennis unconscious and brought him home with us. Now, what more do you need to know?
Iris, please.
You don't seem to be familiar with police procedure, Mrs. Wheeler. It is customary to question all accessories after the fact.
Accessories after the fact?
But I can assure you, Detective...
Iris,
I know what you can assure me, Mrs. Wheeler. But quite frankly, the DA isn't even convinced that you were there in Chris Shaw's office that night.
Well, anyways, Elena's been doing real well, and I was wondering if maybe you and I couldn't get together and work out some way for Elena to sing here.
Here?
Yeah.
At the Top of the World Club?
Well, sure, why not? I mean, it'd be something different for Elena, and at the same time, it might bring in some new people for you.
Well, that's certainly an interesting idea, isn't it?
Yeah, you could bill her as Houston's own country and western singing star. You know, play for performance in New York.
Yeah, I suppose.
I got all the clippings. You could put one of them sandwich boards out front, you know, like they do in New York, quoting all the reviews.
Well...
Of course, this wouldn't be on a permanent basis. It'd just be kind of like a guest engagement. You know, maybe something like a week or something like that.
Well, it's certainly something to think about, isn't it?
I get the feeling you're not too hot in the idea.
Billy Joe, it's not that I'm either hot or cold on it. I just have a lot on my mind lately, and I'll just have to give it some thought, all right?
Well, sure. You can reach me at the coop anytime, or you can call me at the apartment if you want. That is, if you still got my number.
Yeah, I think I do.
Yeah. Well, now that Elena's safe and sound back in Houston, I just thought she ought to try and branch out some. You know. And, well, I couldn't help but think about you and the Top of the World Club. You know what I mean, class.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you think it's a good idea, don't you?
Oh.
Branching out, I mean.
Yes, I do.
Uh-huh. Well, sure.
I'll be in touch.
Yeah, and thank you for your time.
Bye, Billy Joe.
Bye-bye.
It's a very good idea, Billy Joe. I just hope Elena's as safe as you think she is.
Hey, Superstar. You're starting to look right at home here on the ranch.
And you're beginning to sound more and more like Billy Joe every day.
You get enough sleep?
Uh-huh. What time did you get up?
I got up the usual time, you know, about 6.
6?
Yeah.
Jeb, then you didn't get any sleep at all last night.
I got enough sleep.
Maybe I should get some toothpicks to hold open those eyes of yours?
Maybe you can hold them open for me, huh?
I'm sorry, Jeb. I guess I should have been more quiet when I came in from the coop last night.
Why?
Well, then I wouldn't have woken you up.
You can wake me up anytime you want. Are you, have breakfast yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you did, huh? What'd you have?
Oh, I had eggs and toast and bacon and grits.
You're gonna get fat on me, aren't you?
Well, what's the matter? You don't like fat women?
Well, I don't know, but I'll find out. You keep on eating.
Then you see, you are sounding more and more like my manager every minute. But can I help it if being out on the farm just makes me hungry all the time?
No, it's just because you're starting to be relaxed around here.
Oh, am I?
Come on. You are relaxed, aren't you? Huh?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
How can you say that? Of course I was in Chris Shaw's office that night. Why on earth would I lie about a thing like that?
That's why I'm here, to find out.
Oh, you and the DA must have extraordinarily fertile minds to think I could fabricate such a horrible tale.
You'd be surprised at the tall tales I run across every day, Mrs. Wheeler. Yours is mild by comparison, believe me.
Well, I can assure you I'm telling you the truth. And if you don't believe me, well, surely you must believe Vivian.
Vivian has already admitted that she didn't go to the police because you asked her not to.
So?
So, Miss Garrow is obviously a very loyal friend of yours. So loyal that she'd do just about anything for you.
Including lie for me? Is that what you're implying?
Calm down, Iris.
I'm not implying anything.
All right, all right. If you don't believe me, there is someone who would never cover for me. Someone who would just love to see me in jail.
And who is that?
My son's wife, Paige Carrington. She saw me there. So if you don't believe me, ask her about that night.
Did you speak to Ginny this morning?
Yeah, I did about a half hour ago.
You know, I bet Kate wishes she were here. She looked kind of lonely doing the gardening out there this morning. How's Ginny doing in town?
She's doing all right under circumstances, you know, being in a new place like that.
It was real nice of the Bellmans to let her stay there.
Yeah, Rena's been real good to her, you know. Setting all that stuff up. These things work.
You know, I can't imagine this ranch without Ginny. Do you really think that it's over for Ginny and Barrett?
Yes, it is, Elena.
I know that you think it's for the best, but I can't imagine this place without Steve romping around with the animals and Songbird. Who's going to ride Songbird if Ginny's not here?
She'll be all right.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still sad, don't you think?
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, it's sad any time that the two people who have been in love drift apart, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. But you know, Ginny loved Barrett in the beginning.
Of course she did. They had Steve.
See, a lot of stuff has happened since then, you know? I mean, Barrett going off to the war like that, getting captured in Cambodia, held prisoner like that for 5 years.
Yeah, well, if it was anything like that time that I spent on that freighter, I think I understand what he's going through. It's been awful for him.
Yeah, it must have been. You know, and it hasn't been easy for Ginny either. I mean, you know, thinking that he was dead and fall in love with Ryan. I mean, I can't blame her.
No, I don't blame her either. I just think it's sad, that's all.
Yeah, it is.
We are sorry to inconvenience you like this.
It's all right, Stryker. Today's been a whole string of interruptions. Besides, it's no inconvenience, particularly if it can help Dennis.
We certainly hope it can.
Did you say that you and Detective Donovan were here to gather information for Dennis's case, didn't you?
Yes. We've just been over to see Iris Wheeler.
Oh, of course. I should have known that any time the police knock on my door that it has something to do with Iris.
I'm sorry, Paige, about that unfortunate incident the other day.
What incident?
That's a personal matter. It's not important.
Oh, yes, it is important, Stryker. Perhaps Detective Donovan would more clearly understand the character of the woman that he's dealing with.
I don't think that's necessary, Paige.
Oh, but that's what these little discussions are about, aren't they? Honesty? See, Detective, Dennis and I have been having a little trouble, which my mother-in-law thought that she could exploit. So she set up a little meeting with Dennis's lawyer, Mr. Bellman, to arrange a divorce. The only thing she didn't count on was that her daughter-in-law would not be bought off quite so easily.
Paige, I had nothing to do with that meeting. I had no idea why she made that arrangement.
I believe you, Stryker. Now she's arranged another one. What is it this time? She still believes that I'm the one who killed Chris Shaw?
No.
We're trying to determine whether Mrs. Wheeler was actually in Chris Shaw's office the night he was murdered.
Why's that?
The DA is reluctant to believe her story. But Mrs. Wheeler assured us that you could verify it.
How's Alex's condition?
Better, now that he's home.
Can the doctors feel he's making progress?
They don't think anything. All they tell me is that Alex isn't aware of his surroundings. But I know my husband. And I sense a change in him since he was brought home.
Change?
That's right. Of course, the doctors don't agree.
What kind of change?
He's more alert. When I'm there with him, Ryan, I know he's aware of me. Oh, I suppose it is imperceptible to someone who doesn't know him, but I see it. He's going to be all right now. I believe that.
Well, I'm glad you feel so confident. May I be allowed to go see him?
Oh, of course. Vivian? Alex is staying in one of the guest bedrooms on the ground floor. Oh, Vivian, would you show Ryan into Alex's room, please?
Certainly, Mrs. Wheeler.
Thank you.
Oh, don't worry about the door, Vivian. I'll get it. I'll join you in a moment, Ryan. Well, Elliot, what can I do for you?
Nothing.
I just stopped by to see how you were getting along.
Thank you for your concern.
I'd heard from Stryker that Alex had been brought home.
You heard correctly.
But he's doing better then.
Yes, he is.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Ryan is in with him right now, but when he leaves, you could see Alex if you like.
Yes, yes, that would be nice.
Have you seen Dennis recently?
Well, as a matter of fact, I've just come from visiting him.
How is he?
Well, about as well as can be expected for someone who's facing a 20-year prison term.
Did you and Dennis talk about Alex?
No, we didn't.
Oh. Then he doesn't know his father is back home again.
Well, if I'm going to earn my keep around here, I think I better get up to the house and start doing some cleaning, don't you think?
That's a good idea, Lana.
Well.
You two are.
Hello, Billy Joe.
Howdy.
Hey, Billy Joe, what's up?
I just went up to the house and there's nobody there.
Well, that's because Jeb and I have been up since 6 doing our chores.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Isn't that right?
Oh, that's right. That's right. She's she's turned into quite a little farm girl here, down here supervising everything.
You bet.
Oh, yeah? Really?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Elena, don't do that. Honey, you're going to ruin them pretty nails of yours.
Now, wait a minute. She doesn't need nails when she's singing on the radio. Nobody sees those things, Billy Joe.
Jeb, Elena's not becoming no farmhand here. She's got a singing career to think about now.
Well, what are you doing all dressed up?
You like this?
Uh-huh.
Well, this here is the way professional managers dress when they conduct business.
Oh, what kind of business?
Oh, I just came from seeing somebody about booking for you.
Where?
Well, I'm not sure it's going to work out, so I'd rather not say right now. But there is something I forgot to tell you about last night.
What?
Jeter called.
He did?
Mhm.
What did he say?
Well, I don't know. I didn't take the call. Roy did, but it's long distance from Nashville.
Nashville?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what's Jeter doing in Nashville?
I don't know for sure, but he's probably cutting another record with Mel Tullis. And maybe he was probably talking to some people down there about you, huh? Or maybe they might be interested in doing something with you in Nashville.
Oh, that'd be great.
Billy Joe, you've been doing a lot of thinking here, haven't you?
You bet. That's the way I got to be. In this business, you got to stay one step ahead of the next guy.
You know Nashville, that's where the Grand Old Opry is. You know that. You know
I
that,
know
right?
that.
Well, yeah. Of course, I knew that, too. Why do you
You
think
did?
I'm so excited here? I mean, who knows? Maybe Elena might get a date there sometime.
Well, that reminds me. The royalty statements from my record have come in. Haven't they, Billy Joe?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, well, that means that as the writer of my hit record, you have a lot of money coming to you.
Yeah, look, I didn't work out the figures yet, but Elena's right. I have something here for you, Jeb, that should tide you over for the meantime here. There you go, buddy.
What the heck is this?
Well, what does it look like?
Looks like about $1,000.
Well, that's what it is.
Well, where's my royalty statement?
I don't carry my papers around with me. You'll get it later.
Well, unless you got friends down at the IRS, you better give me a check or something, for your records.
Well, that's what I told him.
I got records. I just haven't had time, that's all. And look, you guys wanted something to tide you over, so I gave you the money. I mean, ain't that enough? I swear you two are just like Nita. You're always asking questions.
Wait, are you sure the wiring goes to the closet?
Well, I'm not sure of anything. That's why I got to check it out.
You know, it seems to me that superintendent would have a diagram of the building's wiring in his office.
Well, that's just the problem. There is, but it's wrong.
Oh.
Not in here.
You know, you look very familiar.
Yeah, well, you just probably see me working around here in the building.
Yeah, I guess that's it. You know, working as a waitress, I'm always seeing people that I think I know. Turns out I just waited on them.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, a pretty lady like you had waited on me, I'd remember it. Hey, country music.
Yeah.
Someone in the family in the business?
My husband. He manages a country and western star. Elena Decker.
No kidding.
Yeah, you know her?
Hard not to. It's all over town. It's all over town. But I was reading where Miss Decker had kind of a tough time singing in a club in New York.
Yeah.
She all right now?
It's better. But she's still not quite recovered.
Yeah, well, guess it's kind of rough when somebody threatens to kill you.
Please. Don't kill me.
Got no choice. Don't you see? I got to.
No. I don't want to die. Please. I don't want to die.
Is anything wrong?
Oh, I was just wondering where those wires could be.
No, Dennis doesn't know that Alex is out of the hospital.
I'm surprised at you, Elliot, a man of your temperament.
What are you talking about, Iris?
I'm surprised you don't realize how important it is that Dennis be kept abreast of his father's progress.
Iris, what are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Why do you insist upon referring to Alex as Dennis's father?
I told you.
Yes, I know what you've told me, but I've told you that 25 years of neglect doesn't make someone a father.
Aren't you rearranging the facts a bit? Alex didn't neglect Dennis for 25 years, as you put it. He didn't know Dennis was his son.
Of course not. Of course not, because you managed to keep that fact from just about everyone, including me.
I was protecting my son. I didn't think I would ever see Alex again.
My son, Iris. You can't take away 25 years of companionship with your sudden wish to be the valiant bearer of truth.
I'm not trying to, Elliot.
The time we spent together. The trips to the zoo. Summers at the beach. Staying up all night with a child who's just had open heart surgery. You can't erase that. Those are the things that make a man a father.
I'm not heartless, Elliot. I understand what you're saying. I know the things you and Dennis shared. You were a wonderful father, it's true.
But you have no compunction about asking me to step aside now and let Alex take his rightful place.
No one is going to take your place.
But that's what you're asking.
I'm not. No. All I'm asking is for Dennis to know the truth.
Why? What difference does it make now, after all these years?
It makes a great deal of difference. Not just to Dennis, but for Alex as well. He needs that now. He needs that to get well.
You realize that you're fighting with ammunition I can't possibly combat.
I understand what you're going through, Elliot. Believe me, I do. I know there's nothing I can say or do that will ever change the place you occupy in Dennis's life. That will always be special. But Alex needs Dennis now. He needs him as he has never needed him before. Dennis must be told, Elliot. God forbid, but what if something were to happen to Alex again? What if he were to have another stroke? How would you feel knowing you had kept that secret from Dennis?
You're the one that kept it from him all those years.
Yes, but I did it for good reason. I didn't tell Dennis because when Alex disappeared from my life, naturally, I thought I'd lost him for good. But now that I found him again, Dennis has to find him too.
It's not fair, Iris.
It's not fair not to tell him. You'll find out sooner or later. Too many people know. Paige, Ryan. Do you want him to find out from someone else, from one of them? You know I'm right, don't you?
Yes, I know you're right. I just don't know if I can accept it.
Allow me to tell him, Elliot.
No. If Dennis has to know, then I have to be the one to tell him. Give me that much, Iris.
Can you corroborate Mrs. Wheeler's story? She was in Chris Shaw's office on the night of the murder?
The idea of helping Iris in any way just gets stuck in my throat. I want you to understand that. But if it can help Dennis, yes, I can.
How's that?
When I went back to Chris Shaw's office that night to retrieve the film, I saw Iris's white car pulling out of the parking lot, and Dennis was slumped in the front seat.
Why didn't you tell us this earlier?
Once Iris had confessed, I just didn't think there was any reason.
I wish you'd told me sooner, Paige. We could have saved ourselves a lot of trouble.
Well, I guess that settles the matter then. I'll report this to the DA.
Does this mean that the charge against Dennis might be reduced?
Well, it's too early to tell, but it will certainly help.
The wheels of justice, Mrs. Carrington. Now, don't get impatient. Thank you for your time.
Oh, Detective Donovan, I'd like to talk to you before you go, right?
If you'll excuse me, I do have to get back to the office.
Thank you, Stryker.
What can I do for you?
Well, actually, it's a personal matter, Detective. See, Billy Joe Wright was here earlier. He was talking to me about his client, Elena Decker. He thinks that she should sing here at the club.
I like her record, but I'm not exactly a talent agent.
I realize that. But I read about the trouble that Elena was in New York, and, well, if I thought I was going to hire her, I would like to make certain that she wasn't mixed up in any trouble here.
But other than a real knack for stumbling over dead bodies, no, she's not in any real trouble.
Well, then maybe you can tell me the real story of what happened to Elena in New York.
I appreciate your seeing me on such short notice.
No, you said it was important.
Well, it is. I just talked with Vicki Bellman. She told me that Jenny is leaving Barrett Marshall.
That's right.
Well, I know that Jenny hoped that my trip to Washington to see Roger Williams might help Barrett in some way.
Yeah, at one time, but things are way beyond that now. Did you hear that Jenny lost her baby?
Yes. Yes, I had heard that.
Well, I suppose that was a catalyst. Barrett's, well, he's beyond any kind of help now because he refuses to admit that he has any problems. And the instability, the mood swings that I told you about, they're a whole lot worse now.
And that was getting to Jenny?
Yeah, she couldn't take it anymore, so she left him.
Have you seen Barrett recently?
Yesterday.
What kind of condition was he in?
Terrible. But with Jenny gone now, maybe he'll calm down. The important thing is she's safe now with the Bellmans. That's all that matters.
Does Barrett blame you for Jenny's leaving him?
Yes, he does.
Well, Ryan, I suggest you be very careful.
I don't think he'll carry out any of those threats of it.
No, don't count on your instincts. Protect yourself.
Well, I figured you'd be ready to take a break. I'd bring you back to the house and fix you some lunch.
Lunch?
Yeah.
Oh, you just had breakfast.
No, I was not planning on having any, but I guess I figured you must have worked up quite an appetite by now.
Why don't we skip it?
Skip it?
Skip it. Because, I'm gonna take you out tonight somewhere.
Where?
I don't know. Someplace nice.
Wait a minute. Is that money that Billy Joe gave you burning a hole in your pocket?
You bet it is. Let's use it up, huh?
I have a better idea.
Yeah?
Why don't we just stay at home and have a quiet dinner? Just the two of us.
You mean, a little candlelight? A wine?
Sure.
I didn't know you could cook.
Well, there's a first time for everything, isn't
Yeah, there is.
Well,
listen.
what's the matter?
Nothing, no. We got a lot of work to do today, right?
Jeb.
Let's have a little lunch. I'll hold us over.
Sure. Whatever you say. Now, are you sure the problem is in my apartment?
Oh, pretty sure. It's got to be here somewhere.
What?
Why didn't I think of that before?
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah, maybe it's down at the base behind the bed.
Hold it. Now, hold it. You're not going to start tearing apart the baseboard of my bed. Wait a minute. Look, I don't like you moving my furniture all over my apartment.
Don't worry, ma'am. I'll move it all back again.
But you're tearing this apart.
Nita? Honey, I'm home.
I'm in the bedroom, Billy Joe.
Do I see guacamole, huh? So this is your surprise. Huh? What's wrong?
Oh, I was making the surprise and the wiring in the building's all messed up, and I was getting the guacamole and the electricity goes off.
Who's he?
Well, he's an electrician. He thinks the problem's in our apartment.
Well, it's not here, at least not behind the bed.
What do you mean nothing behind the bed?
Well, I was just checking out for some faulty wiring, and doesn't seem to be here, so I guess I just better go check back down the basement.
Yeah, why don't you go do that?
Sorry to bother you there, Mr. Wright.
That's all right. Bye.
Bye.
Nita, what do you think you're doing?
About what?
Letting strangers into the apartment like that when I'm gone.
He's the electrician to the building.
I don't care who he is. I don't want him in here again. You understand that? I don't want anybody in here when I'm gone.
Look, life goes on when you walk out that door. I can't wait for you to come home every time something goes wrong. Being pregnant does not mean I have to lock myself behind doors.
Nita, it's not just because you're pregnant. You shouldn't do that even if you're not pregnant. Haven't you read the papers? People are always posing as the gas man or something, coming to read the meter, or the salesman, just so they can get into somebody's apartment. It's dangerous, Nita.
All right, I guess you're right.
Of course I'm right. Now you got to be more careful. What's that?
The blender. There you see, Billy Joe, it was the electrician. You were worried for nothing. Now can I finish my guacamole?
Well, maybe so, but you still got to be more careful there, darling. I don't want you taking any more chances.
You know? I like it when you worry about me.
I worry about you, Nita. I worry about you a whole lot.
I don't know what the story is on Elena. The New York cops called me to tell me to be on the lookout for this guy that kidnapped her, Joe Foster. They gave me a description of him. That's about all.
Joe Foster is his name.
Yeah. You know him?
No. Is he from Houston?
Who can tell with these characters? That's where Elena says she first met him, at the Coop.
Would he ever come back to Houston?
That's hard to say. The New York police seem to think he might.
That would be rather foolish, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would be foolish. But then kidnapping people is pretty foolish, too. I guess people will do pretty strange things for money.
Money?
Yeah. Apparently that's what the guy was after, money. Or drugs, or something like that. Something he thought that Bernie Stokes had given to Elena.
Well, for Elena's sake, I certainly hope that this guy never comes back here.
I was kind of hoping he would. So we could lay our hands on him.
Oh.
Put him where he belongs, once and for all.
Well, I have a lot of work to do, Detective. I'd better get started on it.
Yeah, sure. No. Thanks for your help.
Thank you.
I'll let you worry about Listen, Foster. I advise you not to show your face around here. Get up.
Foster. Oh, Peter. It's Paige. Yes, I'd like to take you up on that invitation after all.
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Texas.
Peter, it's Paige. I decided to take you up on that invitation after all.
Good. Why don't we make it early?
That's fine with me. What time?
How about 6 o'clock?
6 is perfect. That'll give me time to come back and take a look at things at the club.
6 it is then. I'll see you here. Dinner, nice talk.
Sounds good. See you at 6. Dinner and nice talk about a certain sailor named Joe Foster. Come in.
Paige?
Oh, hello, Ellie.
Hello. I'm not interrupting your work, am I?
Oh, no, no. Have you had lunch? I could buzz Alfredo and have him send something up for
No,
us.
thank you. I'm really not very hungry. I just stopped by to tell you that I saw Dennis this morning. He asked about you.
Hi, Jim. How are you feeling? Oh, much better. You parents have been wonderful to us.
Have you talked to Barrett yet?
No, not yet. I did talk to Kate, though. What'd she say? She was very sympathetic. Good old Kate. Have you seen Barrett? No, but Max saw him briefly yesterday. Did they talk? They didn't have time because Barrett was on his way to the North Range. He spent the whole day there. I guess I better call him. Jimmy, what will you tell him? I'll tell him that I want a divorce.
Got to snap out of this. You've been brooding for days now.
I have good reason to brood.
Barrett, there's work to be done. Business to tend to.
I don't care.
You'd better care. You've got a ranch to run.
Grandma, the only thing that ever mattered to me was Ginny. And I've lost her.
Well, it seems to me that's as much your fault as hers.
You're wrong. Ryan Connor's to blame. He's the one who destroyed my marriage. And all my dreams.
You can always dream new dreams, Barry.
Ginny's my only dream. And Ryan Connor's not going to take her away from me.
Texas, starring Beverly McKinsey.
Aw, Justin, honey. I outfoxed you again.
Yeah, it was, but you did your job. You convinced old man Wheeler to back us up. Now, why don't you just relax and let me drill more?
I wish I could relax.
Well, come on, we got this far all right, haven't we? Don't turn into some kind of nervous Nellie.
I wonder what you're so nervous about, Mr. Justin Marshall. You're so sure there's oil out there on the Harper property. Or are you sure?
Paige.
I heard you, Elliot.
Well, does it bother you to hear that Dennis asked about you?
Might not if I knew what he was thinking.
Well, I don't think Dennis's thoughts are very clear at the moment, but one thing is very clear.
What's that?
He misses you.
You do know that he asked me not to visit him in jail for a while, don't you?
Yes, I know that, but I think he'll change his mind.
He may not have time to change his mind, Elliot.
What do you mean by that?
Stryker and Detective Donovan were here earlier today.
To see you?
Yes, they asked me to corroborate Iris's story that she was in Chris's Shaw office the night that he was murdered.
What did you tell them?
I told them that I saw Iris's car pulling out of the parking lot and that I saw Dennis in it.
If the DA believes Iris's story, it's possible Stryker can get him to reduce the charge against Dennis to manslaughter.
Yes, I know.
That means that Dennis could get out on bail until the sentencing. Stryker might even be able to get the sentence suspended.
Maybe.
Well, you don't sound very hopeful.
You forget Dennis has asked me for a divorce, Elliot. I don't see much hope in that.
Paige, you know how much stress Dennis has been under. I don't think that what he has said in jail can be taken at face value.
I think he meant it, Elliot.
Well, I don't. You said yourself that Dennis's fear was that your marriage would disintegrate while he was in prison, but if he's free...
Anyway, I have a lot more to deal with than just Dennis right now.
What do you mean?
Iris. She set up a meeting between Stryker and me the other day to arrange for the divorce.
Ginny hasn't said one word about divorce.
Then why did she move into town? Take Steve with her.
She went to stay at the Bellmans so she could have some time to think this thing through without pressure from anyone.
No pressure. You don't seriously believe that Rena is going to stay out at the cabin and refrain from giving Ginny advice, do you?
I think Ginny means to make up her own mind.
And what about that brother of hers? You really think that Jeb's going to miss a chance to break up our marriage?
If you'd stop feeling sorry for yourself, Barrett, and take a good look at some of the problems that led to Ginny leaving you, you might be able to figure out a way to save your marriage.
Ginny's in love with another man.
She loved you for 10 years. She married you.
But she's in love with Ryan Connor. She was willing to have his child and allow me to raise it as my own. I went through 5 years of hell in a prison camp halfway around the world while my wife was back here having an affair with Ryan Connor.
They never had an affair.
Oh! Well, just what would you call it then?
Ginny and Ryan had a proper courtship. They were planning to be married.
She was already married to me.
Barrett, you've got to accept the fact that Ginny thought you were dead when Ryan found out that you were still alive. Right before their wedding day, he did the honorable thing and told Ginny.
Grandma?
Now, wait a minute, Barrett. I have more to say. Now, Ginny chose to stay with you. She and Ryan put your feelings above their own. That's something you've never appreciated.
Remember Chester Hawkins?
Chester Hawkins?
Yeah, Chester
What about
Hawkins.
him?
Got his wife, one of the hired hands, and he shot them both. The sheriff never even arrested him. Sheriff said he was just carrying out the unwritten law. There was no call to punish him. He got off scot-free.
What on earth made you think about Chester Hawkins? You were just a little boy then, not more than Steve's age.
So we talked about for 2 winters. How old Chester Hawkins evened the score.
Yes, I knew Chester pretty well. I also know that he sat in his living room every night with the lights off, staring into space for 30 years. Slowly, he went crazy. He lived to be about 60, but he died the day he pulled that trigger.
Leave me alone, Grandma.
Justin Marshall. Yes, Mr. Conn.
Ashley, I need the Walton oil contract.
Believe that's still down in legal.
Would you mind picking it up for me?
No, not at all. I'll get it right away.
Ginny, just make sure you know exactly what you're doing.
I will. What's your advice?
I don't think you should be alone when you talk to Barrett. Why don't you have my father with you?
Well, Rena, it's not as if Barrett will be surprised to hear I want a divorce.
Maybe not, but he's going to be mad as hell.
Rena.
Honey, I don't think that Barrett's going to give you up so easily, especially since he thinks that you left him for Ryan.
I don't know if I can talk in front of anybody else than Barrett there. I mean, we have the things we have to say are much too personal.
Well, then I suggest that you have my father in the next room.
Okay. I'll talk to Stryker before I call Barrett and have him come to town. Oh, honey, I'm in here.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Stephen Marshall.
John Love's motorbike is being delivered, and he said I could come over and check it out.
Does checking it out mean riding it?
Maybe.
Oh, Stephen.
Don't worry. John Love and I aren't real good friends yet. He might not even offer me to ride it.
Okay. But please, promise me you'll be very careful.
I will.
Bye. Ginny, stop worrying. John Love Allen is the most cautious little kid I've ever met. That's why I introduced him to Steve. He's going to be just fine.
Oh, I can't help but worry about him, Rita.
There are lots of kids in the neighborhood for him to play with.
Doesn't seem like he has an awful lot in common with those kids.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think he's doing just fine.
Wonder when he'll start missing the ranch.
Ginny, he'll tell you.
No, I'm not so sure about that. And he's not telling me what's going on in his mind. Probably because he doesn't want to worry me.
Have you told Steve that you're going to divorce Barrett?
No. And I dread it. Steve, he's clinging to the hope that somehow Barrett and I will work things out and get back together again.
Ginny, I think you should talk to him before Barrett does.
Yes, I intend to do that. I just wish I knew what was going on in his mind.
You know, I'd like to see him talk to Max. Max is the one person who Steve could open up with and be honest with. Now, Max is going to be here later on. I think he can help Ginny.
Listen, I'm real sorry about your troubles with Ginny.
Have you seen her?
Yes.
How is she?
Not in very good shape.
Called her last night. Vicky said she was asleep. I didn't believe her, but there didn't seem to be much point in arguing about it.
Ginny probably was asleep. She just got back from the hospital, and she hasn't got her strength back yet.
Maybe.
Look, Barry, I'm sure that as soon as Ginny feels better, that she'll call you.
I doubt it. I'm not going to wait for her to call. I'm going into Houston to see her today. We have a lot of things to straighten out, and I want to get it over with.
Let's see, Perkins. There we go.
I plan to start drilling tomorrow afternoon.
Is the crew out there right now?
Yep, got my own personal crew.
What does that mean?
What it means is I got people out there I can depend on.
I hope you're not thinking of cutting corners and pocketing money.
Well, Justin. You're just as worried about Bubba's honesty as I am, aren't you?
How did Stryker react to this meeting Iris set up?
He was as shocked as I was.
He didn't know what the meeting was about?
No, apparently Iris hadn't bothered to tell him either.
Oh, this really disturbs me.
Does it?
I know that Iris would stop at nothing as far as Dennis is concerned, but Dennis had expressly forbidden her not to get mixed up in his personal life again.
Don't forget, he had also forbidden her to visit him in jail, just like he told me.
Yes, I know.
I think Iris feels at this point that she has very little to lose and a great deal to gain, Elliot.
What are you getting at?
Oh, she blames me for all of the problems she's had with Dennis. You know that. And I'm sure she feels as soon as she has me out of the way that she'll have smooth sailing.
Now, Paige, you mustn't let Iris get you down.
Oh, I'm not really depressed about Iris. It's
Dennis?
I don't think he's forgiven me for that stupid film I made, Elliot. I don't think he ever will.
I think you're wrong. And I think you'll see that you're wrong when he's out of jail.
I hope so.
You're very important to Dennis.
I used to think I was.
But you still are.
Elliot, do you know what it feels like to give up a dream?
Yes, I do.
I dreamt so often of the family that Dennis and I were going to have. The children. Does that sound silly?
Nope. Doesn't sound silly at all.
Me, a mother. Never thought I'd see the day when all I wanted to do with the rest of my life was settle down with someone like Dennis. Take care of him. Raise his children. That's all I wanted to do with Dennis.
Well, don't give up that dream, Paige. Don't let it go.
I made such a mess of things, Elliot.
Paige. Things are going to work out. You'll see.
I feel so alone.
Well, you're not alone. You're not alone at all.
Guess it's my own fault if I hadn't cut myself off from my family.
And you're still close to Barrett.
No way, but I hardly ever see him.
Do you know how he is?
I don't think well. Jenny had a miscarriage and lost her child.
Yes, I know. Vicki Bellman told me about it. I'm very sorry.
I know you weren't the best of friends with Barrett, Elliot, but he's been such a good brother to me.
I'm sure that he's a wonderful man, Paige. It's just that he's been through a great deal in that prison camp in Cambodia. I was only there for a year. Look what it did to me. Barrett was there for 5 years. That kind of experience can sear a man's soul.
I think you ought to wait a couple of days. Ginny needs time to get herself together.
Jenny's had more than enough time already.
Ginny's been through a rough experience, losing the baby.
She's got my son with her. I want to see him.
Steve is pretty confused about this whole business. He needs some time, too.
I don't want Jenny to have time to turn Steve against me.
Barry, you know that Ginny wouldn't do a thing like that.
Well, your wife sure as hell would.
Now, Rena cares too much about Steve to do anything as cruel as that. No matter what Rena thinks about you, she knows that Steve loves and respects you. And she'd never try to destroy that.
She did everything she could to try and destroy my marriage.
I don't think that's true,
What,
Barry.
no matter what you think, Rena's going to try to influence Ginny against me.
Barry.
I don't trust her, and I'm going into town to protect my interests.
If I can't get you to wait a couple of days, will you at least call Ginny and tell her you're coming into town?
Yes, I'll do that. Maybe while I'm in town, I could stop by and see Ryan Connor. Try to talk out a few things with him.
Barry.
No. I assure you, I'm going to remain calm, reasonable with both Ryan and Ginny. There are things we have to settle. And the sooner it's done, the better.
Call Ginny.
Of course. I'll do it right now.
See you later.
Quite a tape recorder here, huh?
Oh, those little things are on sale all over town. Here's the Walton file.
Oh, thanks, Ashley.
You're welcome.
Listen, it's about quitting time if you want to leave now.
Well, I think I will. If you don't have anything else you want me to do.
No, I don't. I'm just going to look over this Walton contract before I leave.
All right. Good night, Mr. Connor.
Good night, Ashley.
You better be more careful, little lady.
Want some coffee? Something to eat?
Oh, thanks.
Were you looking for Barrett?
No, I just thought I'd come in out of the sun for a while.
You came in to check on me, didn't you?
Well, I was wondering what you were up to, how you were doing.
Oh, I'm fine.
You sure?
Yes. I will be when everything gets settled down. You'd think by now nothing would surprise me, wouldn't you?
Kate, did you talk to Barry yet about all this?
I tried. I don't think I made much impression.
How is he?
I'm worried, Max. Those dark, brooding moods of his. Just like his father, you know.
Yes. I remember. But I think Barry will pull out of this all right.
I'm not so sure.
Why do you say that?
Well, it's the way he was talking this morning. Have you seen him today?
Yes. Saw him just a little while ago.
And how did he seem to you?
Well, he seemed fine to me. He said he was going into Houston to talk to Ginny, maybe Ryan.
Does she know she's coming?
Well, he was just picking up the phone when I left.
Did you hear him call her?
No, but...
I think maybe I'd better make sure. It's busy.
Hallie, would you have Mr. Bellman call me the minute he gets in the office, please? Thank you.
Hello, Ginny.
Barrett, what are you doing here?
I came to see you, to talk.
It's not a very good time right now.
I think this is a perfect time.
I was going to call you later. Maybe
I'm
we can
here
meet
now,
tomorrow.
Ginny. We have a few things to settle.
I want you to leave.
I'll leave. With you. I think you've been here long enough.
Barrett?
So why don't you pack your things? while you're packing, I'll go have a talk with Ryan Connor. Then you and I can drive back to the ranch. We can start a new life together, free of Ryan Connor. and free
Barrett,
of all
I'm
these-
not going back to the ranch with you. I want a divorce.
I'll never give you a divorce.
I'm going to file, and if you want to contest it, you'll just cause everyone a lot of needless agony.
You just can't wait to marry Ryan Connor, can you?
I'm not divorcing you to marry Ryan.
Oh, Jenny, for once, be honest about your feelings for Ryan.
I'm divorcing you because you've made it impossible for me to live with you. I gave up Ryan and tried to pick up our life together, but that wasn't enough for you.
If you ever really gave up Ryan, we could put all that's happened behind us.
No, Barrett. You'll never be happy with me. I am not going to spend the rest of my life being miserable and afraid. It's over.
What about Steve?
I'm going to have to try to make things easier for him.
Have you told him that you're filing for divorce?
No, not yet. I want to talk with you first. But I won't allow this to ruin his life.
I suppose you're going to ask for custody of Steve.
Yes, I am. But I want to make sure that you're a very important part of Steve's life.
Unless you turn him against me.
Barrett, I have no intention of turning him against you. He's going through a lot of pain and conflict now. He needs both of us.
Where is Steve? I want to talk to him.
Barrett, please wait until tomorrow.
I don't think
until
that you understood me. I want to see him now.
Barrett,
I won't leave until I do.
don't start on that child.
All I want to do is show my son how much I love him.
Glad you changed your mind about coming over.
Yes, so am I. Thought it would do me good to get out.
Can I fix you a drink?
Oh, just a club soda, please.
You sure?
Maybe I'll have a glass of wine with dinner.
So, you had a good time last night?
Oh, yes, it was very relaxing, Peter.
I'm glad I was able to help.
Sorry I unloaded on you like that.
No, not at all. You're free to unload on me anytime you want.
Tonight I think we should talk about you.
Me? Why? What's so interesting about me?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I'd just like to catch up on you. I really don't know much of what you've been doing since I last saw you in California, which was, what, a year ago?
My life's been very boring since then.
Well, it couldn't have been all that dull. Looks like you kept busy.
Well, I was, very lucky to have met Jim Lawrence and to have formed a partnership with him. I'm sure you don't want to discuss Jim Lawrence.
You're right, I don't. Who's that young man who came here last night when I was here?
Just a business associate.
Oh, what kind of business is he?
Well, he works for me.
He's on one of the boats that you leased from Alex Wheeler?
Yes, yeah, as a matter of fact, he is.
What's his name?
Why do you want to know that?
Because I thought I heard you call him Foster.
Yeah, that's right. His name's Joe Foster.
Did you know he was wanted by the police?
Barrett's at the Bellman's now. Ginny says not to worry. She can handle him.
How does she sound?
Like she's got everything under control.
Is Rena still there?
No, she left a little while ago. It's probably just as well. Seeing Rena might just set Barrett off again.
You're probably right. Now, Rena has been such a good friend to Ginny all through this.
You know, Rena was almost as upset about Ginny's losing the baby as Ginny was.
I know.
It was almost as if it were her own baby.
Well, Rena's a woman, Max. It's natural for her to place herself in Ginny's position.
Well, I suppose. But I never knew Rena to express an interest in having a baby before.
Well, I think in time.
What?
Rena will change her mind about having children.
Well, we've had so many problems. I can't blame Rena for not wanting to start a family.
You've changed your tune.
Well, I know there was a time when I thought having a family would solve all our problems.
And now?
Now I know I was wrong.
I'm glad you see that.
Well, you're the one who helped me see it that way. Now I know that children need a secure environment. They have to have a strong, united family.
Rena thought that the way to solve everything was to drill for oil on your land.
Yes, but now she admits she was wrong.
I know. I also know that for Rena to admit that took a lot of doing on her part.
You're right, it did.
It's been difficult for her. She's had so many adjustments to make.
Well, she figured that if I had some money of my own, a substantial amount, that we could build a nice new house and have a better lifestyle.
Oh, well, that'll happen in a few years.
Well, I've decided that Rena doesn't have to wait any longer. I am going to build that new house for her now.
Where's Steve?
He was outside playing with the neighbors. He's washing up. Barrett, promise me that you won't upset him.
You act like the child's made of glass. He's not fragile, Jenny. He's a tough little boy.
He's going through a terrible time right now.
So am I. But I'm coping. I think Steve will, too.
Hi, Dad.
Hello, son. How are you?
Okay.
Well, your mother tells me that you've been making friends with some of the kids from around the neighborhood here.
Yeah.
How do you like them?
They're okay, I guess.
But not like Buddy, right?
No, not like Buddy. Buddy's real special.
Buddy misses you. I saw him this morning, talked with him. He was asking when you were coming back to the ranch. The Morning Glory misses you, too. Not to mention Grandma.
Are you and Mom going to get back together?
We have a few things to work out first, Steve.
But after that?
Oh, I'm not sure we can work things out, and I don't want to give you any false promises, honey.
Your mother doesn't even want to try anymore, son, but I'm not going to give up.
Barrett?
In the meantime, I was thinking maybe that you could come out to the ranch and stay with me for a while. You could work on your solar energy project, help me with the horses. I went down to the creek this morning. I think that the old oak tree needs a new swing on it. I can't do that by myself. I need some help. Steve, you're free to stay in town all summer. Or for however long your mother takes to decide to come back home. But I sure would like to have you out on the ranch with me.
Barrett, stop forcing him to make a choice.
Why not? You made a choice.
I miss you, Dad. And I really miss the ranch. But I better stay with Mom. She needs me.
We'll talk about you going out to visit your dad at the ranch, okay?
Okay. We're not going to stay for supper?
No, your father's got to get back to the ranch right away, honey.
Oh.
Would you go upstairs and change your shirt?
Bye, Dad. I love you.
I love you too, Steve.
I'll be right back.
Joe's wanted by the police.
I'm very surprised you don't know that, Peter.
How would I know that?
It's been in the papers.
Oh, what's he wanted for?
Abduction.
Who did he abduct?
Elena Decker, a singer. He took her from her dressing room in a club in New York where she was singing. Threatened to kill her, Peter.
Oh, that's impossible. As far as I know, Joe's been right here in Houston for the past several months.
Apparently not. Seems he took a little trip to New York.
No, it's not the same guy.
It is, Peter. Lena Decker's manager, Billy Joe Wright, came to see me today. He told me that the Joe that kidnapped Elena had a strange tattoo on his wrist, a sea serpent. The guy that I saw here last night had the same tattoo.
I can't believe this. I read the headlines about the Decker kidnapping, but I never read the articles. You know, I've been so busy moving my operations from Galveston to Houston, I kind of got lost track of things. Listen, if Joe's the same guy that kidnapped this Decker girl in New York, why would he ever come back to Houston?
I don't know. But I do know that he's also wanted in connection with the death of Bernie Stokes, a man who worked for Chris Shaw.
What?
Police think that Joe was after something that Bernie had, and the reason that he killed him was that Bernie wouldn't give it back to him.
What did he have?
They're not sure what it was, money, drugs. But Joe thought that Bernie had given it to Elena, this things, whatever it was, and that's why he was after her.
How do the police figure that Joe killed this Bernie Stokes?
Because he admitted it to Elena Decker when he held her captive on the boat.
I have something to tell you, Paige.
What?
Joe knew Chris.
What?
I sent him to him.
What do you say?
I'm saying your husband may be an innocent man. I'm saying Joe Foster may have killed Chris Shaw.
Oh, there you are. Thought you'd be out working, honey.
Well, I took a break to check on Kate.
How's she doing?
She's upset.
Yeah, thanks.
She's doing her best to hide it. She's too strong for her own good. Sometimes I just wish that she'd give in and break down when something upsets her, but she never does.
Well, honey, some people go to pieces and some people don't.
Honey, I got something to tell you, and I don't want you to go to pieces. Barrett went into town to see Ginny.
I better get back there.
Honey, I already called and talked to her.
She all right?
Well, she seemed to be. She said that Barrett was there, but she had everything under control.
Was Barrett there while you were talking to her?
Yes?
Well, maybe she was afraid to say anything.
No, she was in the kitchen, and Barrett was in the living room.
Did she sound nervous or upset?
Honey, I just told you that Ginny has everything under control. Now, just stop worrying about her. Ginny can stand on her own 2 feet if we let her.
Well, Beth is going to be there, and the gardener's going to be there. If Barrett tries to do
Honey,
anything
she's
crazy...
just going to be fine. Ginny will be all right. Besides, your mom and daddy will be home real soon.
Yeah, you're right about that. Okay, I'll try not to worry. You all right?
Yeah, I'm fine. But I missed you.
I miss you too, darling. I went by the hospital today to see Ricky. He was complaining about the food, so I bought him a lot of cheese enchiladas and tacos.
Well, that'll either kill him or cure him. I don't think they're ever going to let you back in that hospital.
No. I talked to Evans before I did it.
Yeah? Well, why don't you and me go out tonight and get us some enchiladas and some tacos?
Honey, we don't have to go out. I mean, I can fix dinner.
Oh, no, that'll take too much time. And besides, you're probably tired.
I want to fix them, Max. Now, if it's terrible, we'll admit it, and then we'll go to a restaurant. Okay?
Okay. It's a deal.
Oh, Jenny, I'm sorry to disturb you. I told Beth not to wake you.
It's all right. I wasn't sleeping.
I'm looking for Barrett. I called the ranch. Max Decker told me that he was coming into town to see you.
He was just here. He left a few minutes ago.
I'm sorry that you're having problems.
For a while, I thought you were the cause of our problems.
Yes, I know you did. Brian told me about it.
Elliot, I'm sorry. I was so wrong.
Well, you might have been right. After all, I was accused, in some quarters at least, of being a traitor. And when I received the same medal as Barrett, well, I can certainly understand why I would have been angry.
It's only part of the problem.
Jenny, I don't mean to intrude. I know it's really none of my business, but could you tell me what kind of mood Barrett was in when he was here?
I asked him for a divorce. He wanted Steve to go back to the ranch with him, and Steve said he wanted to stay here with me. It destroyed Barrett. I'll never forget that look of pain on his face.
Did you discuss Steve's decision with Barrett?
I wanted to. I took Stephen upstairs, and when I came back down, Barrett was gone.
Do you know where he went?
I suppose he went to the ranch. The state he was in, there's no telling where he might have gone.
Ryan.
Barrett? What are you doing here?
Funny. Those are the same words that Ginny said to me when I showed up at the Bellmans.
You've seen Ginny?
She's still my wife, Connor. Or had you forgotten?
Well, I don't think she's going to be your wife much longer, Barrett.
You're feeling pretty good about all this, aren't you? You've won.
Let's not start this
You've taken
again,
my
Barrett.
wife from me. You've taken my son.
Barrett, let's not go
Connor,
through
I've
this.
been boning up on Texas law. I have it right here.
What in God's sake are you doing, Barrett?
I'm defending the honor of my home and my family. No jury in the world will convict me for killing you. Not after what you've done to me.
Join us each weekday at this time for the continuing story of Texas.
Hi.
Hi.
How come it's so dark?
Well, what's that?
Got work to do.
Oh, well, you told me to wait up for you. So I've been waiting up for you.
I like that one.
We gotta do this fast.
What's in that stuff?
Sodium something or other. The vet said it would put him out in a flash. Look at that baby.
Ooh. How long will he stay out?
A couple hours.
Fantastic. Hey, it won't hurt him, will it?
Well, he'll wake up as healthy as a newborn kitten.
Let's hope the vet was right about that couple of hours.
No kidding.
Hate to have him wake up and think that we would desert.
Is TR ready to see me now?
Yes. Lloyd,
Yes.
wait a minute.
Why?
Isn't it obvious?
Well, if you're uncomfortable about my being here, try to remember that it is for TR's sake.
I know that.
Good.
Lloyd, I know I've hurt you, but can't you treat me like a human being?
I don't see any point in continuing this discussion, do you?
Look, we've been close. You've shown affection for me at one time. I'm standing here in front of you, Lloyd. I haven't vanished.
If you'll excuse me, TR's waiting.
Someone's coming. Come on. Wow, look at that.
That was fast. No table manners at all, huh?
This is gonna be a breeze.
He won't look so scary when he's sleeping like a baby.
What a great idea. We knock him out, then we take the gold. We are totally professional.
Any minute now, we'll get a nice close look at that medallion, because look who's getting sleepy.
Forever and ever. Till
To the end of the earth, I will love you always
as I did from birth. I wish I could be grown up about this, Daddy.
No.
I'm trying, but I can't. I just keep seeing the saw coming down on me.
It's okay.
It's okay to still be scared.
It's more than okay. It's just good sense. You had a very close call, young lady. You have every reason to be upset, and it's going to take you a couple of days to recover. But you will recover. You have to believe that.
Okay.
You remember when I told you that story about Ryder's father and how he saved my life in Vietnam?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told that story very lightly, but for 2, 3, 4 months after it happened, I would wake up several times a night in a cold sweat. It took me a long time to get over it, but I did, and you will too.
You make me feel so strong.
You're a strong girl.
I'm glad you're here with me.
I wouldn't be anyplace else. Oh, I said the right thing.
Yeah, you did. Can I ask you something, Daddy?
Sure, fire away.
How can you tell the difference between an intense like and true love? How do you recognize the kind of love that's forever? I mean, like with marriage or whatever.
I'm not the one to ask that of. I'm really not.
Liza said you were.
Liza said?
Yeah, she said that you knew the most about love of anyone she knew.
That's, I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to that. Well, to begin with, I don't think you should be thinking that seriously about marriage right now, young lady.
I just wanted to try to explain the kind of love that I meant.
Good. Nice scare easy. You got to be careful of this old heart. Okay. Let me see if I got this. Now, you have an intense like for one person and true love for another.
No. I just wanted to know how to tell the difference.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean
between
to
them.
put words in your mouth. Intense like. Okay. That's, it's sort of fun and games and laughs. Basically friendship, right? I mean, it's not that you can't be serious, because, of course, you share secrets and lean on each other when you're down, have heart-to-heart talks. And, of course, you can find that in true love as well. So I'm really clarifying this for you, aren't I?
No, not at all.
Well, it's a tough question. People have been trying to explain this difference for centuries, and... Okay, I'll have another shot at it. When you love somebody, all kinds of crazy things swirl around inside you. I mean crazy. For example, you can be with someone and be unhappy because you're thinking about the time when you won't be with them. And you can not be with that person and be happy thinking about the time you will be with them. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Have you ever gone someplace alone? A place that you've been with someone you love? And you feel like they're there with you?
Oh, yeah. You're getting the idea.
Go on.
Go on, huh? Go on, okay. Well, when you love somebody, you're full of energy. You can do anything. Everything is a challenge and an opportunity and a beginning. And that's the key.
What?
A beginning. It's as if your whole life is beginning all over again with a new sense of purpose. And it's as if you're seeing the world for the first time.
Yeah. And we do like silly things together and serious things too, but they're both important, right?
Exactly. And it's as if you've found something that you didn't even know you needed, but now you can't dream of doing without it.
What's that?
Oh, it's something in yourself. a piece of yourself, a piece of your soul that you see reflected in the other person. And you'll never see yourself the same again. You'll never be the same again. You'll never want to be the same again.
Never.
And perhaps the greatest thing of all is you feel a sense of peace. Because you know that with this person you're truly home. But you'll know all of this when the time comes. In fact, you won't be asking me, you'll be telling me, I guarantee it.
That was right.
But what?
You do know a lot about love.
Got any ideas? For the posters. I was thinking sparseness. A faint suggestion of a city skyline with the title written in kind of casual freehand.
Sounds good.
What are you grinning at?
You're all fired up.
Whoa, we're on the threshold of a great beginning. You and I are going to be the top producing team around. All right, here. You start off. Sit down. You do a little sketch. It's a good start. All right.
Hey.
Skyline. Let's see, it could be any sort of building combination. Wait. Have a very tall building on the left with the title kind of drifting out from that.
Nah. Oh, I got it. How about a wall with the title written in graffiti?
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah, once you get started, we'll do that. Oh, and put a guitar up against the wall.
Hey, listen, I'm not promising you any masterpiece here.
You know what makes us a shoe-in?
We have each other.
Bingo. But more than that, we have a package. Quinn McCleary's Folk City, you and I at the helm, a first-time singer that we've discovered. We launch her and the show at the same time. That, my dear, is a package.
Quinn, if we're going to be working together to make Sarah Whiting a star,
The first in a long line of stars, babe.
I have to ask you something.
Shoot.
Do you know she's in love with you?
Well, she's...
In love with you. I know. I talked to her.
Oh, you did? What do you know? Two of my favorite ladies having a little chat about moi. That's terrific.
Terrific. Quinn, look. I don't want to be one of your ladies. And for that matter, I don't want Sarah to be either.
Hey, now hold on. Sarah is just an opportunity for us to get the show off the ground fast.
I understand the business end of it.
And she happens to be a friend.
Like me?
No, not like you. Not at all. I just get protective of her. She's very fragile, and we have a connection in that way. Friendship.
Like the puppy you found.
Yeah, sort of.
The one that used to sleep in your bed every night.
Wendy, you and I are lovers. But that's... I have no intention of doing anything with Sarah.
What sort of intentions does Sarah have?
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Whose face are you drawing there?
Look.
Come on, whose face are you drawing there?
You. I thought maybe I'd superimpose it over the whole thing.
I'm not that egotistical.
I'm sorry, Mr. Co-producer lover. I was just trying to please you.
You know, maybe I'm the puppy you found.
Hmm?
You ever thought about that? You let me sleep in your bed.
True. But I don't consider you a puppy. You're more like an Irish wolfhound.
I hope I look a little more agreeable than one of those monsters.
Yeah, just a little.
Thanks a lot. Wendy!
What?
This is our chance to do something, the both of us. Do it our way, together. Build something from scratch.
I want it too, Quinn.
But what?
It doesn't have to be Sarah.
Wendy!
Look, Quinn, there's a whole world of talent out there.
Do we have one reason to drop her?
No.
Okay. There you go.
Promise me something.
Oh, no, not again. What?
If any of this stuff you say isn't going to happen, starts happening, I want to hear it from you first. no other way.
One of us goes for the gold and the other one keeps a lookout. Agreed?
Agreed.
No, I go.
Why?
Because I'm unattached. You've got a very special young lady who's expecting you to at least live through the summer, all right?
I like your logic, Danny, but no way. It's my battle. You've been great so far, helping me out and everything, but I can't put you on the line.
I got my own reasons for being in this now. That creep Bella almost cost me my arm, literally. All right, I'll tell you what, listen. We'll do it the honorable way. Odd or even. You call it.
Odd.
Okay.
Once, twice, three, shoot.
Sorry, buddy. Looks like it's hero time for me.
Hey, be careful.
Yeah. Keep watch.
She finally went to sleep. I promised her that we'd be here in the house all night.
Thank you for being here. I know it's,
Liza, I'm
difficult.
sorry.
Why?
The way I've been acting all night.
Lloyd, you don't have to apologize.
Oh, yes, I do.
I think you've had every reason.
I've had every reason to treat you with the respect that you deserve. Just had a lot of chat with TR and made me see things more clearly. The subject of the discussion was love, and it's funny, there's a very easy way out of all of this, a really, really simple way.
There is?
Yeah, I just walk out right now, I go home and start living my life again, close myself off.
Don't ever close yourself off, Lloyd. Whatever you do, I don't think I could take that.
Now, don't worry. I didn't say I was going to do it. I said that was the easy solution, and I flatter myself that I'm not a man for easy solutions. Besides, what would I have left? A life devoid of the richness that you've brought to it, of the happiness that we've shared, and what's that worth?
I don't want you to ever walk out of here. If only for TR's sake. She doesn't deserve to pay for what I've done.
Well, when I was a younger man, I'd have walked like that. But then I had this very idealistic, impossible view of people. Perfection was what was required at all costs. Even the smallest mistake was not to be tolerated. Except for myself, of course. Either that or I never realized how many mistakes I was making. At any rate, I'm older now, and I've raised a family, and I've learned one or two things. And the most important thing that I've learned is that the human heart is an imperfect thing. Perhaps that's what makes it unique. And Liza, your heart is warm and open and full, and if there is a flaw in it, I say if, it's that you love too much, but there's no cruelty there. That you care for too many people, but there's certainly no selfishness. I love you, Liza. And I hope to understand you.
How can anyone be that understanding?
I've got to try if I expect you to love me.
You know, I've been afraid to touch you. It's been like the worst nightmare I could possibly imagine. Feeling this distant from you.
Oh, we certainly don't want you to feel that way, do we?
You know, what you said about the heart, I know you're right. But I still can't accept it. Why can't the heart listen to reason? Why can't things be easier? I love you, I love TR, I know we belong together, but we're not because of me. And I feel like I'm losing everything right now. I feel like the world is crumbling around me, the world I've tried so hard to build. Why does it have to be so difficult? I used to be in control, straightforward. Now all I feel is confusion.
That's because it's confusing. And the only way out is for you to make a choice. But you have to make that choice. I can't do it for you.
I know that.
There is one thing that I could do to make it easier for you.
What?
Stop seeing you. Give you some space and time in which to marshal your strength to make the decision.
You know, that would probably make it easier for me. You'd do that?
No. No, I can't. Please understand that. I can't stop seeing you. I can't voluntarily stay away from you now. No, far from making things easier for you, I'm only going to make them more difficult. We're not just suddenly strangers, Liza. We've been as close as any two people can be. That was real. That wasn't pretend. The time we spent in France, you savored every moment of that. That night we shared together, that was real. That passion was true. You weren't pretending there. And I can't believe that that passion isn't as alive and as strong now as it was then.
Yes, but
You say that you're afraid to touch me. Well, you don't have to be.
I'm not, but
Liza, just give me a chance. Give us a chance to put this back together, to find again what we found there in France. Come upstairs with me now, Liza.
You know what we are?
What?
The perfect team.
Yep. Here.
I'm serious.
Well, so am I.
I mean, we're good for each other. We care about each other. You give me ideas and inspirations, and we have mutual respect.
I go to bat for you, you do the same for me.
You know, before I was with you, all I did was care about myself, for myself.
Tell me about it. Nobody had high expectations for Wendy to dance.
Oh, I did have one friend when I was a kid, a girl.
Oh, figures.
Yeah. We used to have a clubhouse in her tree in her front yard.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me she still lives in Henderson.
I don't think so.
So what happened?